What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So for today's trailer review and reaction, we are taking a look at the recent film Pins and Needles. Again, you've heard me say this time and time again. We see so many of these horror films fly under the radar, whether they are released broadly or released in very specific areas, but then don't necessarily get into the mainstream media to get widely reported. Or this is, again, I feel, one of those. Now, I know this one recently got released in Canada, and that's the only place I can find where it was recently released, which was just a few weeks ago, November 22nd of this year. It was released in Canada. Haven't seen it released anywhere else yet. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it won't get released, but just based on the synopsis and, again, the lack of attention, the lack of reporting, mainstream media reporting on this one, I don't see it getting a wide theatrical release. It might get a limited one and then either go right to all streaming platforms or potentially bought up by a specific streaming platform, for example, like Shudder, and then it just ends up hitting their streaming platform when they deem it necessary to put it out there. Now, just a quick synopsis on this film. The storyline is what should have been an uneventful ride back to campus unexpectedly becomes a nightmare as Max, a diabetic biology grad student, is entrapped in a diabolical new age wellness experiment. With her insulin supply dwindling, Max is forced into a deadly game of cat and mouse where she must escape at all costs or risk becoming the next test subject to extend the lives of the rich and privileged. I think we've seen maybe a tad bit of this storyline synopsis played out in other horror films, but not fully as this one is described. So let's check out the trailer and see what this one is all about.
Pez?
No, thank you.
Oh, come on, everybody loves Pez.
Yeah, everybody except diabetics.
So what happens if you have like no insulin?
Bad. Can we just please turn around? Our phones don't work and this road isn't even on the paper map.
Listen, we'll be back to civilization in a few short hours. All right, I promise.
Relax, man, it's just a tire.
Maybe we can ask whoever lives in that insane house to help us. Why don't you guys change at least one of the tires and I'll go over there and see if anyone's home.
So I'm gonna say it. I'm a bit interested in this one, and the reason why I'm interested in this one is it's so simplistic, and it's got to make you wonder. You have this so you have this mansion pretty much out in the middle of nowhere, and this isn't just a small mansion. Looks to be a very modern, technological mansion. We get a very quick view into what appears to be the basement with all this biological type stuff, whether it's surgical equipment. We see some of these blue drums, these plastic drums, where I'm imagining that's probably where they're storing bodies or decomposing bodies in them, probably using some sort of chemical to do so. Side note, similar to what we saw in Breaking Bad, we saw a brief snippet. It was very quick of the wife who appeared. She had a bloody face as she was trying to attack Max, is the character name. And then we see, I would imagine, is the husband, licking his finger that's covered in blood and then saying perfect. So that also makes me wonder, are they cannibals? Are they eating their victims as well? And then we see a brief moment where there's a police cruiser or a sheriff cruiser involved as well. Now, if this is somewhere, obviously it's out in the middle of nowhere, but if this is somewhere where it's a small town, is this something where everyone in the town is involved, where the sheriff or the police are involved, they know about what's going on? Because you can't imagine that you have this couple in this mansion out in the middle of nowhere and all these victims who happen to be coming by are just disappearing. Now, it's kind of reminiscent if that is the case, it's very reminiscent of Wrong Turn, of the, you know, that whole series, especially the first one, where these people keep going, you know, missing and disappearing, and you have this family out in the middle of the woods, of the boonies, having to store all these cars in this very secluded area over all these years, and they're doing all these things with the bodies. Again, like we've mentioned in other trailer reviews, when it comes to these types of films where you can tell they're very independent and the budget may not be as much as a big studio, don't fall asleep on these. Sometimes they turn out to be great films, very enjoyable films, especially for the horror genre. I think some of these can turn out to be franchise starters. So we're not going to sleep on this one. I'm very intrigued to see what this one's about, especially since, again, we don't know how many victims this couple has underneath their belt. So once we'll look into this one, because it did release in Canada just a few weeks ago. And again, I can't find it anywhere else where it's been released. So if I can find this one on streaming somewhere, or find at least a place to rent it, you know, whether that's POD, I will do so, check it out, and come back and give you all my take and my review on the film, and if it's something worth checking out, or if it just turns out to be a complete miss. Either way, it's made it to our list, and we will give it a view. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for today's trailer review and reaction. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment in the comment section below. Let us know what you think of Pins and Needles. What did you think of the trailer? If it becomes available, or if it is available, would it be something worth checking out yourself? Let us know, and we will see you at the next one. Peace.